Every time I turn on YouTube, my feed is full of artists raving about these. But they are a children's product. From the reviews I've seen, they are thick and chunky and they don't blend. So I just really didn't get it. However, I've been playing with these and I've discovered a little secret that just changed everything. I have been seeing these things all over YouTube. I've even seen them in people's reviews at the end of the year, but I just didn't get it. They're a children's product. They're really chunky. I mean, look how chunky that is. So I wasn't quite sure how on earth I would produce art. But then you have things like oil pastels and things like that, which are also chunky. So maybe I shouldn't let that get in the way. I have to say, the first thing I noted as I actually started swatching, or as I actually put it to paper, was just how creamy these things are. And as you can see, they pretty much dry instantly. Like we mentioned, oil pastels, they take forever to dry, but these had an instant drying time, which is good for certain things, but maybe not so good for others. So I have to say, I just fell in love with these colours. I'd been resisting them for so long, but then when I saw this pastel collection, I was just like, oh, the colours are so pretty. And as I said, they're a budget supply. So whilst I was buying stuff for my faraway tree make, these accidentally fell into my basket at the same time. And I'm glad they did, because I've had real good fun playing with them. And I'm just about to do the test there to show how instantly these things dry. Now I had heard, is it Melanie, her channel, I'll maybe link it below. She'd said that these work better on a smoother paper. So I decided to test them in some of my journals that had a more textured paper. And here is where I discovered something amazing. Because when on my test pages, I gesso half of it and I leave the other side ungessoed, just so I can see how it reacts to the different surfaces. And this is kind of like my reference when I'm about to do something. But watch this, look, it stayed wet. Now I'd already intended to try and see what I could do with regards to if there was anything that could make it blend. So I have to say, this was a complete accident. This wasn't intended to be in my video. It's just because I was told it wouldn't work on textured paper. And as you can see, it is a little bit grainier. I think it works fine. It just maybe takes a little bit more building up, but they do have a smoother texture when you use them on a smoother paper. Again, look, I'm beginning to lift. So this is just me trying the different things and for reference to try and blend. We tried water unsuccessfully. I know that you can blend pencils with baby oil, so I tried that unsuccessfully. We went to isopropyl, which you can use for both pencils and alcohol markers, and again, that just lifted the colour. So again, unsuccessfully. I tried heat, which was a bit stupid because it is paint, but I was thinking about how crayons work. And then this was never on my list of things to test, but as we said, we just swatched and it worked. So this time I tried putting a little bit of clear gesso down first, and this is the only thing that makes it blend. I feel like I have discovered the magic formula because I have watched so many videos on these things and everybody says you cannot blend them. So this, I have to say, just got me a little bit excited. So we needed to test this theory in a slightly bigger format. So I'm going to go for a rainbow. I put gesso down first. A few things I learned: that yes, you can blend them. You can see here I am managing to smudge and blend between the colours okay. You do still have to work fairly quickly. It does sort of like eventually dry, and I think also what I have discovered is lighter layers probably best. It's probably easier to blend lighter layers than heavier layers. Now this maybe isn't the best demonstration of this, but I did manage to get it work. You can see there it's slightly lifting. So, but I was able to fix that just by coming back in, and the gesso still worked to be able to help it to blend. So it can blend, but I would say it's not the easiest blend. So I'm excited I've learned that I can actually make them blend. You can see how wet that tempera stick, I keep calling it tempera, we're not frying anything, tempera stick is. So we can make it work. The next thing I want to try is how it played with other mediums, because I like to mix my mediums when I am creating. So I tried pencils, I tried acrylic markers, I tried pastels, I tried alcohol markers. They were all fairly successful, and I tried biro as well. And they all layered really well. I have to say, in reality, the pencil, when it came to real life, didn't actually blend as well as I would have liked. Now, I always feel that you should work to a product's strength. So yes, I have managed to make it blend, but it is not the product's strength. I can make it work if I want to, but there are other things out there that blend nicer. There's no two ways about that. So let's play and to its strengths. So this, I wanted to layer lots of different colours down. What I have noticed in doing this is that they're sort of like semi-transparent. So that's probably the best way of building up your colours rather than trying to blend. But because they were so washable, I thought they would be perfect for doing the reverse stenciling technique. I actually find it easier to do this technique using one of those sort of like magic cleaning things. It seems to lift the colour so much better, and this worked beautifully. So for mixed media and creating backgrounds, this is going to be really fun. Now this, I was so excited when I discovered this. I thought, what's it like putting it through a stencil? And because it's quite chunky, it almost raised it. It was like the same as putting texture paste down. So I love texture paste. Not the cheapest thing in the world. Coloured texture paste, even more expensive. So the fact that did that, that was amazing. Again, I wanted to see how it would go over lots of different supplies. So I pulled out my Sidekick journal because it's literally got everything in here. So we've tried it over texture paste and it seems to kind of catch the edges, which is quite interesting. I tried it over acrylic paint. I tried it over washi tape. I tried it over lots of things, and to be honest, there was nothing that it really resisted. So I think this is going to be a perfect product for layering with your different mediums. This was me practicing just layering the product itself, and as I said, it does seem to have a semi-transparentness to it, which maybe your acrylics don't. So you can put acrylics on top of everything, but they don't have this gorgeous semi-transparent effect. So I really like this. So now, this was the bit I was really scared about attempting to colour. I like detailed colouring, I'm not going to lie. So the thought of colouring with something quite so chunky was a little bit scary. And this is where the layering really had to come in. So I was kind of putting my shadows in with a slightly darker colour and then going over with the white to try and knock it back. And that did work. This was the kind of the most open image I could find within my stamp collection to try this on. So I think it would work better with more open images. Definitely want to play with these a lot more. Today was just my first testing of them and my findings of what I have learned today, but I do feel that with time and practice, these could become a really useful, interesting tool. This is where I discovered that although on my swatch the pencils worked well, they didn't work too well in reality, and I really found that the biro was the hero. I was able to add the details that I couldn't add when it came to just using the sticks, and I was able to kind of build up the shadows and things so it looked not too bad. Now, because I was just testing things, I didn't really like how that orange looked, the raised part, so I went over it again with the yellow to make it work better for this piece. And then I decided I wanted to add a little bit of white behind the llama so she stood out, but of course I keep forgetting you can't blend these things because I hadn't pre-adjusted this page. So this is where you have to build up your colour by layering, and this is what I need to learn, but I'm excited to learn because I think this could be a really fun. So I keep playing, I'm trying to get the colours so that they're still nice and vibrant, but so she still pops off the page and that you can still see her absolutely fine. I ground her by sort of creating a little bit of kind of grass looking things, and then as I add the clouds you can see how well they layer over each other. Well, I'm about to add clouds, I promise. First of all, I stick the image down. So yeah, I can see this working really well for mixed media pages. And again, sort of layer some little extra details with the flowers. And there you go, I told you clouds are coming. So you can see there that I've gone over really bright colours, and although they're semi-transparent, the white is still staying white,
which is really good. So I think, as I said, learning to layer, and I probably need more patience when it comes to layering these things up. Finally, again, I come in with my biro just to add the detail so that it looks a little bit more like grass. I give my flowers stems and add a doodly border. Here I start faffing. I should have left it here. See, in editing, I watched this bit and thought, yeah, actually it looked okay at this stage, Julia. You should have left it alone. But I don't know, I wasn't loving it in the moment. I used the sentiment that came in the stamp set, which was "You amaze me," which I thought worked really well because actually I wasn't prepared to love these sticks as much as I did. I genuinely thought it was a lot of hype over nothing and I didn't get it. The fact that I fell in love with them was brilliant. So I added that sentiment, "You amaze me," talking about the paint sticks themselves. Add a little border, and it's not the best example of what these can do, but it's been a fun trial run and I cannot wait to play with these a lot more in the future.
I honestly have never been more surprised by a product. I genuinely started this video and started filming thinking I don't get it and didn't think I would like them. Yes, I discovered the secret to blending. Very delighted about that. But they are so much more. They work as texture paste. They layer beautifully. They're, oh my goodness, they do so much. They're more than just a one-trick pony. Plus, major budget supply because it's a children's product. I am so excited to play with these more. I can see these becoming a staple in my crafting practice. In fact, next week's video, I'm taking on quite a unique challenge and these just may come to my rescue. So I hope you will join me for that. And in the meantime, I hope you enjoy these other mixed media videos. Take care and I will see you next week.